Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
At St. Francis Heart Center, we're not just regional heart experts. We share our greater success with the world. We don't just pioneer technology. We do it more than anywhere on Greater Long Island. And we don't just win awards. We deliver greater outcomes for people like you. As New York's only specialty designated cardiac center, we're not satisfied with just being good. This is Long Island. This is St. Francis Heart Center. And greater lives here.
Welcome to the Varsity Media Sports Network, where we have a heavyweight fight between two of the top 10 teams in the country. It's the Chaminade Flyers hosting the Delbarton Green Wave from Mineola, New York. Thank you to our sponsors for today's game, Catholic Health and J&R Landscaping. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everyone. I'm Thomas Gamba alongside my partner, Isaac Nealon. Isaac, both these teams, as I mentioned, some of the best in the country. Inside Lacrosse has Chaminade number 6, Delbarton at number 5. Prep Lacrosse has flipped them, Chaminade number 4, Delbarton at number 6. We don't really know who's the better team here, but today we'll find out.
Look, it's one of those things. It's why they play the game, right? We have a very front row seat to what's going to be a very exciting game for two teams that are looking to take that next step towards the playoff run.
So let's find out who are some players to watch. Let's start with the Delbarton Green Wave coming into this one at 10-1. They've won 9 straight games, and Will Pedicano and Peter Falk will lead the charge for the Green Wave today.
Yeah, very good players, leaders on their team. You talk to Coach Schreiber, you talk to Coach Kovacek from the Green Wave. They're guys they're going to be relied heavy on, right? Although they have a lot of depth, you got to put the ball in the stick and in the pocket of some of your better players and let those guys go out and do what they do best.
Falk, 28 points. Pedicano, the Duke commit, 7 goals. Then the long pole also has 26 ground balls and 16 caused turnovers. Let's move over to the Chaminade Flyers side. They have a lot of guys on both ends of the field, but 2 in particular have had amazing seasons. That's James Gillis and Gavin Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, looking at these guys, James Gillis was an 8th grader playing up on varsity, comes over to Chaminade, and his impact is felt immediately. He's a guy who wants to be in college now. He's playing at that level. He's got a couple more years and still time to really just get after it. And then also for Fitzpatrick, looking at the defensive battle, when you have face-off guys on both sides of the ball, good goalies, you got to have good guys in front of him. So for Fitzpatrick, he's going to have his hands full today, but at the same time, that's what he signed up to play for.
And wouldn't it be fun to see Gillis go up against Pedicano, the 2 Dukies going at it? Maybe we'll see that today. Let's go to the starting lineups first for Delbarton. As I mentioned, coming in 10-1. They've won 9 straight, 3 ranked wins this season. And head coach Matt Kovacek is liking what he's seeing.
Yeah, even as you look at this starting lineup, they feature a lot of good depth, right? So it's one of those opportunities for guys to really maybe climb into that starting lineup going into the playoffs. But for each one of their starters, they're guys who everyone knows, right? It's a bunch of names, guys who are going to go play in college and extend their career.
One other guy to look at, Bo Popham, committed to Notre Dame on the defensive side. And then the goalie, Tanner Shimko, committed to Johns Hopkins, and this guy is a monster in the cage.
Yeah, he's outstanding. And, playing against the Chaminade offense, he's going to have to be. How he commands his defense in front of him, making sure that he is able to let some of those little goals go, clear the ball well. He's a guy who can do it all. He's going to have his hands full, but at the same time, just command those guys out in front of you and make sure they're doing their jobs.
Let's look at the head coach of the Green Wave. As I mentioned, Matt Kovacic in his 6th season with the Green Wave. And they're really starting to pick it up this year. They had that early 7-goal loss to Brunswick, but as I mentioned, 9 straight wins. They've really bounced back this year. Yeah,
it's one of those things. He's a coach who prides himself in his team learning from any of those losses or learning from any of the mistakes that they may have, and that's what we're going to see throughout the course of the day today.
Let's move it over to the Chaminade side. The Flyers coming into this one 11-1, 10 straight victories, and they have a lot of depth on their team, just like Delbarton.
They do, and like looking at their starting lineup, they're a team that relies very heavily on those starters, right? So although their bench may be deep, their starters are very high production guys. So as you go through that attack all the way down to their goalie, they're in a flow. They understand what it is they want to accomplish. They've had some pretty good wins as of late, some pretty big wins as of late. While they will have their hands full, at the same time, they know who to trust, right? They know who to put the ball or who to give the ball to. They also have a lot of faith in that back end in terms of their goalie and their defense. And then mentioning that goalie, Kieran Walsh committed to Notre Dame. He's had 2 great performances against 2 ranked teams, Fairfield Prep and St. Anthony's. 2 games with 12 saves in both contests. Yeah, it's one of those, right? Going to Notre Dame. I mean, you watched them play last night. They're never in a game that they shouldn't be competing in. So for him, this is an opportunity to really just lock in, get up on his toes, make a few saves, clear the ball well, and really compete in a game. So both teams getting ready for this one as we will go to a quick break. The first quarter is up next between Chaminade and Delbarton from Chaminade High School on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people. All people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Here we go. It's game time from Gold Star Stadium as both teams get ready for this heavyweight fight. The Chaminade Flyers and the Delbarton Green Wave. Welcome, everyone, to the Varsity Media Sports Network. I'm Thomas Gamba, alongside my partner, Isaac Neal. Let's look at the head coach of the Flyers in his 45th season. That's Jack Moran.
Yeah, Coach Moran is a staple in this program. He's somebody who has a clear set of expectations as guys come in and look to make a name on this roster, get on the field, and then compete, in pride for Chaminade. And it's one of those things where throughout the course of the game, he's going to make sure that his boys are ready, having watched film, having studied this Green Wave team and how they compete. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he adjusts his boys throughout the entirety of this game.
Let's look at the keys to the game as both teams set up at midfield for Delbarton. They got to win those face-offs, especially with Quinn Ball on the other side. We'll talk about that a little later. But Christian Trzynski has to be very good today, value possessions, and play great team defense.
Yeah, from Delbarton and coming from New Jersey, they don't play with the shot clock. So time is at a little bit more of a premium throughout the entirety of this game, right? If they're not winning face-offs, how do they adjust their wings? How do they make it so that they're able to get the ball back and, like you said, value the possessions without feeling too sped up?
And then for Chaminade, pick up the pace on the offensive side with some of their big guns. Win defensive matchups and dominate the face-off dot as they have done this year. Quinn Ball's have been excellent.
He has, and when you have somebody who's winning the draw as often as Quinn Ball is, it's really opportunistic for an offense to just get firing on all cylinders, right? So to your point, they have to have that short memory in any turnover, even a short memory on any scored goal, and then just look to go make that next play. This is a team that rides well, competes hard. We're really looking forward to this matchup this afternoon.
So here we go. It's Ball and Trasinski from the faceoff dot. Christian Trasinski, the junior, committed to Cornell, 3-star inside lacrosse prospect, facing off at around 62%, and Ball facing off at around 85%. The Penn commit has been dominant as both of them go at it, and a push on Trasinski as the Flyers started off.
Look, it's one of those things throughout the course of the game, and it will probably be an echoing recurrence from me, how a team blends in and kind of settles in and plays defense, knowing or having in the back of your mind we might not have the ball too much. So how they sub, how they match up, how they slide, and then most importantly, how they clear after good stops.
Lynch down the middle, steps down and shoots it way high. 23 seconds into this game, and Lynch battling a lower body injury, but staying in for this one. He played against St. Anthony's, but didn't play in the Flyers' last 2 contests.
That's got to feel good for him to come out, get a shot, albeit a little bit high, and then settle into this offense.
Balsamo in front, and there's Lynch. He scores! The Flyers lead it 1-0, as it looks like Gavin Lynch is feeling just fine for CHS.
Look, as we get ready to look at it again, you look at Balsamo, playing very unselfish. Lynch is able to kind of relax the defense a little bit, letting that shot go out of the box. It really opens it up for him and for Balsamo to look at that feed. Way to play unselfish from this offense.
The 58th point of the year for John Balsamo and the 44th for Gavin Lynch. That's his 29th goal on the year. And now that top quartet of Lynch, Cutton, Gillis, and Balsamo up to 191 points on the year as Ball is 2 for 2. Straight up the middle, finds Balsamo, and he whistles it right into the stick of Shimko.
Look, we talked about it earlier, right? Shimko's a great goalie. This is one of those games, and I'll always say it in lacrosse, it's not soccer. Guys are going to score goals, so for Shimko to step in and make that next save, that's big. But that turnover in the clears might not bode too well for
D'Agostino shot it wide. Sorry to cut you off, Isaac, but this one goes out of bounds, and Shimko with the backup.
So you see it already, right? Chaminade's looking to play fast. That's a shot out of the box on the last 2 possessions. We're going to see that Chaminade ride, but they're definitely not afraid to shoot the ball. And when you're playing with Quinn ball, it makes it a little bit more advantageous to let some of those shots go.
On the far side, they control. This is Derek Core, the junior defenseman, Boston University commit, 11 ground balls on the year, as the Green Wave trying to clear. Good checks by D'Agostino, and they do. It's Brandon Fodor, the sophomore midfielder, 18 points on the year and 12 ground balls.
Yeah, we talked about it in the keys, right? And Coach Kovacek had said it. Definitely making sure that they can value possessions, not feeling too sped up, not only by the shot clock, but also the fact that, again, it's in the back of your mind. We score a goal, we might not see the ball again for a little bit.
Schobel on the right side, cutting left on Bakiers. Finds Rob Weber, going to the net, and he hit the top of the post. Rebound taken by Schobel, and Delbarton with a new shot clock. Schobel splits left and shoots it high.
Yeah, when you watch the Green Wave play on film, get a chance to watch a couple of their games, they're a team that likes to settle in and try to find their matchups. So against this Chaminade defense, they got to get guys to slide. They've got to do a good job of exploiting some of the short stick matchups that they might find, but also making sure that they're not afraid to take the shot, with a good goalie in net for Chaminade.
Rom Weber draws the slide. Bakiers falls down, but good recovery from the Flyers.
That's a little bit of ball cycling there. They find that short stick matchup. They're looking to attack downhill. Green Wave doing a good job of maintaining the ball with Chaminade's pressure that we see so far in this game.
Hauser at X, circles the cage, fires, and he scores! Chase Hauser ties the game, and we're all squared at 1.
And you go back to that replay, but Coach Schreiber and Coach Kovacek both talked about it from an offensive perspective, right? Doing a good job of drawing slides, keeping the game simple, and then finding these matchups. They want to do a good job of attacking Chaminade's short stick defenders, getting them tired, making sure that they're kind of getting those shots that are a little bit harder for Chaminade's defense to stop.
And my apologies on that one. Peter Falk with the goal. Hard to see these numbers with the black jerseys today. Usually Delbarton's wearing white, but...
That's all right. You tap one up. We're 1-1, and they're fighting a little bit at the X, which is what we want to see.
And Ball's now 3 for 3 as he easily wins it against Phil Minardo, and a flag pops out after Ball was hit near the sideline.
It's something that you want to watch throughout the game, right? I anticipate this game being pretty high scoring. Ball's going to end up taking the large majority, if not all, of the faceoffs. So right there, they're trying to ding him up a little bit, but the refs aren't going to let that happen. They want to see that back and forth.
So the Flyers control almost 3 minutes into this one. We're squared at 1. Lynch and Falk with the goals. Gillis down the left side. On the other Dookie, Will Pedicano.
Yeah, Delbarton doing a good job. Gillis subs out of the box on that after that last faceoff, really getting their matchups and looking to play within themselves defensively against the Chaminade offense.
Good tip down low, and it's picked up by Core as that will stop play. And it's a man-up situation for the Flyers who've dominated the extra man opportunities.
They have. That's something that you don't want to give another team. I understand being physical, making sure Quinn Ball knows he's going to have to earn a lot of the wins that he can and will have throughout the course of this game. But at the same time, it's a silly play early in the game. We'll look forward to Delbarton looking to bounce back as their man down.
So 8:45 to go in the first. And the Flyers on the man up. As I mentioned, coming into this one, 10 straight victories, 5 against ranked opponents. As it's Sam Fox behind the net playing catch with Cutton. Chaminade likes to keep the ball hot to start it off.
Feel him out a little bit. It's a 30-second technical, so you're going to look for someone to carry and draw out. The ball movement on this team is definitely going to be crisp, but it's a very unselfish team at that as well.
Lynch again, and he scores. The second of the day for Gavin Lynch, and it's 2-1 Chaminade.
Yeah, that's great poise by Chaminade. You watch this replay. Balsamo does a good job of carrying to the middle, shows his hands. He's looking to let one go, and he can let one go. But at the same time, that attention that he draws frees up his teammates for that second 1-2 combo punch for the second goal of the game.
So it's an EMO goal for Gavin Lynch, and it's 2-1 Chaminade. And we mentioned earlier how Lynch was nursing a lower body injury, but he looks just fine today.
Look, it's one of those on a man up. All he has to do is catch and shoot, right? And when you have guys who are drawing slides or who are drawing the eyes of the defense, he gets to almost like train in the backyard, right? Catch and let it go.
Just shooting practice for him there. Loads of time and room as Finarder on ball, battling at the faceoff dot. Kicked around near Durant, and Ball picks it up. He's 4 for 4 to start it off as he turns it over. Hauser trying to take it away from Trainer, and Trainer lost it out of bounds. So it'll be Delbarton ball in their own end.
Look, it's one of those things where you just want to tie him up, right? You don't want to see Balsamo at the point or Gillis at the point with Quinn Ball running down the middle of the field with the ball in his stick. So they're able to muck it up a little bit, create a 50-50 ground ball, and then they can settle in and play on either end of the ball.
Jack Sheridan near the logo, the Bucknell commit, finds James Olson 3 goals on the year. Sheridan working on Meyerhofer, the Towson commit, as Sheridan splits right down the alley, winds up and shoots it wide to the left. Rebound out of bounds. Whose ball is it going to be? It's going to be Delbarton as Falk with the backup.
So far, all of Delbarton's looks have come against Chaminade short sticks. So like we talked about with Coach Moran, you're going to look to end up sliding to those shorties, creating a little bit of offense, but at the same time speeding up this Green Wave team.
Saved by Walsh. Rebound out of bounds. Connolly diving for it, but Bowden with the backup for Delbarton. 60 on the shot clock after the save by Walsh. Bowden back into Connolly. Inside roll, shoots. Denied by Walsh. Connolly broke his stick, but Walsh bailed him out.
That's a great save. Walsh staying on the pipe, just sticking into his technique, making sure that even with that broken stick, they're able to handle that 6-on-5, and Chaminade clears the ball pretty well up the other end. That's a big juice save for the Chaminade defense.
7:10 to go in the first. Flyers lead 2-1. Both these teams ranked within the top 6 of the newest Inside Lacrosse poll and Prep Lacrosse poll. Balsamo with under 7 minutes in the first. Splits left, rolls right, finds Gillis, step down, kick save Shimko. Rebound to Mendelson, up top Lynch. He shoots wide to the right, and it'll stay with Chaminade. 45 on the shot clock.
Lynch is going to want to keep it in mind. I'd like to see him bounce one, right? He's stuck to a little bit high, goalie staying up on his toes. He's going to let the next one go down low, and it's going to go in.
We'll see. He already has 2 today. Be pretty cool if he can get a first quarter hat trick despite that hurt lower body. 6:46 to go in the first. Cutton play makes at X. Gets to GLE and backs it off against Daniel Dotro. Cutton rolls left around the cage, looking up top. Backs it to the left corner. Drives in on net, and a save by Shimko. As it goes out of bounds, Balsamo with the backup. 26 to shoot. It actually went wide on that one. No save. So no reset on the shot clock.
You know, that's a good job by Cutton. Comes right off of that pick, gets that short stick matchup. He's patient, looking for probably the best shot he can get at that time, and they're playing again off the end line.
Balsamo rolls left, and a save by Shimko. Rebound picked up by Poloni's triple team that X. Flyers trying to pick up that ball. Gillis is there, and he scoops it up. Gillis in front. Lynch, tough catch behind the back, and he shot it high. It goes out of bounds, staying with Chaminade. In this one, a long possession for the Flyers.
Yeah, very long. You know, that shot clock resets. Delbarton's got to take a deep breath, find their matchups. And, you know, anyone from Chaminade is letting the ball go at this point. So finding those matchups is very key for Delbarton's defense.
Lynch rolls left. Good check by Peticano. Rebound picked up by Voorhees. And the Flyers keep control. Being harassed there by Bo Popham. As on the near side, it's Gillis. Splitting right, stop and go. To the net, save by Shimko. And can Delbarton finally clear?
It's a great take by Gillis. You know, not being afraid to go to his right hand. A little bit of a loss of angle, but at the same time, they're definitely keeping this Chaminade defense on, or the Delbarton defense honest.
Sheridan backs it out to Brandon Fodor, 30 yards out of the cage, defended by D'Agostino. And on the far side, it's Romweber. 38 points for Gavin Romweber this year. Hauser around the cage. Good defense by Fitzpatrick. And up top, it's Testa. Across to Romweber, splitting left against Bakirs. Back to Fodor. And they work it up top. Testa on the short stick. Shapiro. Can Chaminade win those matchups? He mentioned it. It's going to be important as Testa is stopped by Walsh.
I mean, you see them going, but again, the refs are going to call an interference call on Chaminade, but that's the slide that they want to take, right? They want to force those shots that Walsh is going to see. That's an easy save for him because the slide is coming into that guy's face, right? Making sure that – sorry, I was thinking who's coming on. Making sure that the Chaminade defense does a good job of sliding and recovering.
Fodor rolling against D'Agostino. Finds Sheridan, extra pass to the far side. Romweber to Schobel, skip pass, Falk faking, shooting, kick save Walsh, rebound to the right side, and it'll go out of bounds, Delbarton ball.
Those are the shots that Walsh wants to see, right? Chaminade's doing a tremendous job of approaching, getting in Delbarton's hands, all disrupted shots thus far, and Walsh is seeing them.
Fodor on the near side, still defended by D'Agostino. Looks like we're going to get a good matchup with those two as Fodor rolls left. Draws the slide. Testa, good recovery by Battaglia. As it's to the far side, Romweber, shielded by Trainer. Skip pass to the near side for Fodor, 18 points on the year. Fodor finds Testa, he fires, that one blocked. Rebound to Falk, kick by Battaglia, and he scoops it up.
Yeah, it never got through. Again, the Chaminade defense is doing a great job putting pressure on Delbarton's offense, getting in guys' hands, forcing what I would call a bad shot in that situation where it's from distance, and Walsh does a good job just to see it, eat it up. They do a good job off the ground and get it down to their offensive end again.
4 minutes to go in the first. Still 2-1 Chaminade. Lynch has both goals for the Flyers, while Falk, the only scorer for the Green Wave.
Yeah, you know, so Chaminade's mixing it up a little bit, trying to create a little bit of a matchup disparity, running Gillis out of the box, trying to find that matchup, and then also, as you see it, they're trying to get the pole off of Lynch right now to come out and guard Gillis. He's going to work for the ball, but we're going to see a heavy dose of the same six for Chaminade because these guys trust each other, right? They play very unselfish. They have no problem sharing the rock.
Cutting stopped by Shimko and out of play. It'll be Chaminade ball with a shot clock reset.
Well, now that's the third possession in a row that Chaminade's been able to put one down that hasn't been able to be saved clean by Shimko. We want to see how this Delbarton defense wears throughout the course of the game.
Lynch on Mahoney, shot it wide to the right, and that's going out of bounds. Delbarton ball. Popham with the backup. And Isaac, you mentioned Chaminade wants to get Lynch on a shorty. They did, but good defense by Patrick Mahoney.
100%. You know, for Chaminade, it's one of those things where they understand they can play faster, right? They know they can play fast because they can win faceoffs. They can ride the way that they're riding right now. They want to put that pressure on Delbarton and speed them up throughout the course of the game, not only on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end as well.
Bowden scores! Jared Bowden ties the game at 2.
It's a great take by Bowden, right? When you go back to the replay, you look at it, it's an instantaneous short stick matchup. You know, Delbarton comes in, and when you talk to Coach Kovacek, they understand that anchor defense starting with Walsh down on the Chaminade end. So Bowden does a good job of just getting downhill, running away from that short stick and letting one go before the defense is able to get set.
The 9th goal of the year for Jared Bowden, the Lafayette commit. And we're squared at 2:42 to go in the first quarter. And we said it was going to be a fun one, and it has over these first 7.5 minutes.
100%. It's a game that all of these kids go to these schools to compete in, right? When you look at two nationally ranked teams, this is what they're going to be doing for the rest of their lacrosse career. So giving them an opportunity to say, hey, it's tied up. We've gotten good looks if I'm Chaminade. You've gotten great stops if you're Chaminade. And then the same thing for Delbarton. So it's going to be really important on how these coaches kind of manipulate their teams, not only throughout timeouts, but also in the quarter and then throughout the course of the game as well.
Lynch on the near side, rolling right down the alley. Has space, and he peels it out. Good recovery by Rolke. And it's Cutton playing up top. Trafford on defense. Cutton looking to accelerate by him. Gets to X. Good check by Trafford with 2 minutes to go. Cutton dancing around the net. Swings up top. Balsamo splitting right. Has space. Looking to get top side. Slips on the play. And a steal by Core.
Yeah, that's one of those, Coach Moran's going to look back even throughout this first quarter when it's 2-2 and you have a chance to go up 3-2 after a big face-off win. There's no one from Chaminade really moving, right? Balsamo has the pole on him, but no one's really moving around for him.
And another stop by Walsh as he corrals the rebound. Looking for an outlet. Lets traffic develop. And on the far side, it's Fitzpatrick. 1:23 to go in the first quarter, still tied at 2. Walsh up the middle, finds a cutting Cypress, and he will clear.
Yeah, Delbarton doing a good job making Chaminade use the majority of that 20-second clock to get the ball over. But Chaminade's doing a great job of just staying poised, finding the open guy, and then settling in on offense, even as Delbarton gets their defensive matchups.
Here we go, big matchup here. Gillis and Popham drives in. Gillis shoots and scores! 3-2 Chaminade as the future Duke commit gets the best of the future Notre Dame Irish.
Yeah, one thing, you're going to look back, the Delbarton defense is going to say, we got to get our hands on him, right? Jimmy Gillis is a big, strong dodger. That stick check's not going to do anything to him, right? So he's coming underneath. He's going to run through the check, which is what any and every lacrosse trainer is going to say. And he does a really good job of showing his hands low, bringing it back up, and just finishing that dunk. It's a great goal for Gillis, with under a minute left in the quarter.
His 33rd of the year, and we're going to see that matchup in the future at the college level. Gillis already getting some experience, and he gets a goal as the face-off wins straight up the middle. Quinault, he scores! Delbarton with a quick answer as Kane Quinault puts it home.
That is a huge juice goal for Delbarton. Not only winning it off the face-off, but also being able to answer back and keep this game tied. It's a great face-off win, great change of planes by the Delbarton face-off guy to let one go. He's going to be feeling good after that. But look to ball to bounce back, right? Look to him to now counter, and these two guys kind of chess matching throughout the course of the game as ball starts to settle in, and as both sides start to settle in into their 6-on-6 sets.
So 6 seconds later, Delbarton answers as Quinault goes early on that one. And it'll be Connolly to bring it up for Chaminade.
It's interesting, right? Because even when you watch college games, you hear a lot of guys talk about how well somebody's doing at various positions, especially the face-off X. Not often do the announcers talk about the fact that the other kid trains too, right? He goes to practice as well. The coach is going to manipulate the wings. So that's a great job by Delbarton to settle in. You'd like to see him not jump on that last face-off, but at the end of the day, they've showed they're going to get off the bus and battle, starting from the X.
They have today. We're squared at 3. 20 seconds to go. Shot clock, not an impact for the Chaminade Flyers here. They could take the last shot if they want. 15 seconds to go. Cutting around the net. Up top for Lynch. 12 seconds. Looking for Gillis. Has him on the near side. 9 seconds. Checked by Popham. Gillis driving left with 6 seconds. Triple team. Rolls inside. Shoots. And that's kicked right to Shimko. 1 second to go. And that'll do it for the first quarter. An electric and fun first period with both teams tied at 3, and it happened after the Fogo goal by Kane Quinault. Just 6 seconds after the Gillis score, and we're all squared at 3. You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network as Chaminade taking on Delbarton.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Design, build, and maintain your dream home. J&R Custom Landscaping has been proudly offering landscape design for over 30 years. Give them a call today. Back live from Chaminade High School on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We're squared at 3. I'm Thomas Gamba alongside my partner, Isaac Neal. And Isaac, this has been a fun one, as we said, but especially that ending. Gillis scores with 56 seconds in the first quarter, and then right back at you, Kane Quinault with the Fogo goal to tie it at 3.
Look, it's definitely worth the price of admission. You know, when you talk to both of these coaches and they really both start talking about the face-off X, right? Coach Moran knows what he has in Quinn Ball. Coach Kovacek from Delbarton also knows what Chaminade has in Quinn Ball. So looking at this chess match throughout the course of the day, and we had said it earlier, really looking at how they both kind of wear throughout the tear of all of the goals that are scored and how often they're meeting at the X.
An interesting strategy here. Delbarton not just sticking with the Cornell commit Trasinski. They've been splitting around duties at the dot, and it's worked for them.
Well, and one thing you see, too, so like on that last one, Delbarton jumps. So college rules come into the high school gameplay, you know, not only with the shot clock, but also with the face-offs. So if they are jumping on ball, they're going to be throwing different looks, which, to your point, isn't a bad thing, right? It kind of keeps Quinn Ball guessing, kind of keeps the Chaminade rope unit on their toes in terms of where the ball might end up.
Pizzo down the right side, one of 4 sophomores on the Flyer roster. It's been very productive for the Flyers this year as Cutton rolls around the cage, finds space, doesn't shoot with his left hand, and a whistle on the play. Turnover by Chaminade.
Look, when you have someone like Cutton who's going to the goal a lot, those things are going to happen, right? It's about getting the next one, having a short memory, and then right now relying on your defense to kind of bear down and get a stop.
So a minute in to this second quarter. It's Hauser at X, checked hardly by Gerbasi, but he gets back on his feet and finds Andrew Johnson, who lost it in his stick but picks it back up.
Look, when you talk to both of these coaches, their anchors are obviously both their defensive units, right? How they bounce back after giving a goal. You know, for Chaminade's defense, it's about maintaining some of that poise and knowing in the back of your head, yes, our offense can score. Can we get stops, right? Can we manufacture shots or good stops? They did a really good job of forcing some bad shots from Delbarton and then making sure that they're sliding and recovering as Delbarton looks to take advantage of the matchups.
Falk up top. Good check by D'Agostino. Double team comes. Ball pops right to Schobel. And Delbarton will reset. 25 on the shot clock. Rom Weber at X against the Boston University commit Sean Connolly. Rom Weber rolls inside and shoots it just wide to the left. Almost pinpointed that left corner, but just a tad bit wide.
Delbarton with that heavy dose of offense going against Chaminade short sticks. You know, if you're a Chaminade shorty, you got to make sure that you're getting hands on guys, and then also making sure that your back end is ready to slide and help you out and support you as these Delbarton Green Wave guys dodge.
9 to shoot. Hauser in front. Fodor couldn't get a shot off. Rebound behind the net. Picked up by Fitzpatrick, and he works around Testa as he drops him to the turf. Walsh to the near side. Gerbasi looking to clear. Fans oohing and eyeing from the stands as Connolly extends and clears for the Flyers.
Yeah, it's a great job kind of handling poise on the box side clear for Chaminade. Look for them now to keep mixing and matching through these midfields, you know, rolling some attackmen out of the box, looking to take advantage of some of the offensive sets that they have, but at the same time making sure, as you see it right now with Connolly coming off, that guys are getting a little bit of a breather so they're ready to go throughout the course of the game.
And Connolly, such a special player, does it from both sides of the turf. Really good defender in that clearing game. It's probably his best ability, but he could score as well. He had 2 goals against Darien and scored as well against Kellenberg. Balsamo working on court, drives right, shoots and scores! John Balsamo gets top side and rips it home to make it 4-3 Chaminade.
See, and I'm a coach that very much values all of the off-ball movement, right? So Balsamo now, this is a replica of the dodge that he had in the first quarter where he ended up losing the ball. And we had talked about the Chaminade offensive players moving. You see a lot of off-ball movement, and it really holds that slide. It gives Balsamo, who may have been known as a feeder for the 2 assists he's had in this game, a great opportunity and look at the goal and wait for him to capitalize on that opportunity.
So it's his first goal of the game, and that gives him 30 for the year as we go back to the face-off dot. Ball and Trzynski. As the whistle blows, Ball trying to win another, and a hold on Delbarton. So Ball wins it.
Definitely looking to counter anything that Ball can do, right? You know, and I'm curious to see how Chaminade starts to stack their wings too, right? What's the pace of play that they want to maintain? You know, you see Gillis, who's normally an attackman, out on that wing, and albeit the hold, you know, now it might create a little bit of a matchup disparity or discrepancy for that Green Wave defense, and it also puts Chaminade in an opportunity to play fast, which they're doing right now.
And Gillis scores his second of the day off the shimmy shake move, and it's 5-3 Chaminade.
See, and these are these impressive chess matches or chess pieces that Moran's moving around, right? You put an attackman on the wing, let him pick up the ball after that, and it gives Gillis a chance to, again, get that defense a little bit more unsettled. There should be a slide to him, but there isn't one because he creates that matchup by putting guys all over the field in different positions.
And a timeout by Delbarton. They're down 2 in this second quarter, and Chaminade just thrives off those face-off wins from Quinn Ball. He's been excellent in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's big. You know, in speaking with Coach Kovacek this weekend or throughout the course of this week, he really put a lot of emphasis on the face-off X, making them earn it. It's hard when you're jumping. It's hard when guys are holding. You know, you see the face-off coach for Delbarton right now having a conversation with the official, just wanting to know and understand a little bit more of why that hold was called, because this is the biggest part of their game right now, right? For Chaminade, those guys at the offensive end are able to have the point production that they have, really based off of Quinn Ball. He's their engine, he's their motor. So having an understanding of how to move their own chess piece from Delbarton to kind of neutralize Ball at the X.
And Chaminade, their roster is a lot more than Quinn Ball. They have a ton of guys playing college lacrosse. And you mentioned it, these guys are going to get ready to play college lacrosse in a year or two. And this is just, you know, an extension of college lacrosse because they're playing against top talent.
Look at some of the guys that come behind them, right? For Ball as well. He has older brothers and siblings that also participate at that level. They know how to compete. It's the reason why they're on the field, you know, representing the gold and red throughout this game and throughout the course of the season.
And some guys that aren't committed yet, some juniors, sophomores, they might commit in the next year or two. So they're looking to play college lacrosse, and just maybe if they don't play a lot, they're still in this environment, and that's always great experience.
I couldn't have said that better myself. You know, a lot of these guys sign up for that experience. A lot of guys go to college to play for that experience. Taking some of these keys away, and the schedule that Chaminade had allows that experience for sure.
And another top team that they're playing as Rom Weber shoots it high. Delbarton will get some subs in. Will Petticano is still out there on the offensive side. We mentioned 7 goals for him on the year. The long pole staying out there on the attack.
Yeah, you know, they want to make sure that they're also taking advantage of their opportunities as well as Delbarton turns it over and then allows them to ride a little bit differently, as Chaminade's really done a good job of keeping some of their midfielders on to play and create some of those matchup discrepancies.
Ferrara Rich peels it out to the right corner against Johnson. Great steal by Meyerhofer, and then Ferrara Rich picking up the loose change in that clearing game, which has been pretty good for the Flyers today. They've had success in that area.
Yeah, well, and you see Will staying on, right, setting the pick for Gillis, making himself available to kind of get that assist off of the play right there.
And there we go again. A hat trick for James Gillis and a cross-check from behind. And this guy can't be stopped.
No, he can't. And it's one of those, right, we talked about it in the beginning of the game. James Gillis knows where he's going to school. He knows what he wants to do when he gets there. He knows where he wants to get on these dodges, right? For him, and it's the reason why Chaminade plays the schedule they play. It's the reason why Chaminade has the amount of depth and the talent level of player that they receive and also kind of grow and manifest. You know, that's a big-time dodge by James Gillis. You know, the junior commit, a lot of people forget, right? He still has a whole year left of high school, but at the same time, he's making it a tough matchup for anybody on that Green Wave defense.
Exactly. He started last year as well alongside Connor Cutton and John Balsamo, who's also a junior. As Ball wins the faceoff, Battaglia double team, but Connolly swoops in to pick it up. Straight down the middle, Connolly drives the slot behind the back, and he shot it wide, but it'll stay with Chaminade.
Yeah, I don't know how happy Coach Moran's going to be about that one, right? You make a phenomenal hustle play, and then you're throwing one behind the back, but at the end of the day, guys have that understanding. We're going to keep playing. We're going to get another look.
Ball stopped by Shimko. Rebound pops out to Mendelson, and the Flyers control possession. Lynch, long step down, and wide to the left, and it'll stay with Chaminade. 52 on the shot clock.
But you see it, right? Ball staying on. That's a little bit of the chess piece down on the other end of the floor. You know, Delbarton keeping their pull on. Ball saying, I can do the same thing. I'm going to stay a threat, and we're going to make sure that we try to manipulate some of these matchups.
Yard sale by Popham, but he pushed Gillis as he was trying to pick up his stick. And that'll be a turnover for Delbarton.
Yeah, that's a tough play, too. You know, for Popham to make that check, kind of silence Gillis for a second, and then give the ball back. They got to have short memories down here for the Green Wave.
Balsamo and Pedicano going at it. UVA and Duke one-on-one. Pedicano was originally committed to Virginia, but decommitted. Then going to Duke as Lynch fires, saved by Shimko.
I said it once, I'll say it again. Lynch, change your levels, right? That's a phenomenal look. Way to get the ball out of Balsamo's stick. I'd love to see Lynch drop one down in between the goalie's legs, but at the same time, they're going to settle in, play a little defense, and look to get the next stop throughout the course of this game.
Well, maybe that's impacted by his lower body injury. We mentioned it earlier. Maybe he can't go low, but he's still a factor wide open like that.
Well, and 100%, he's definitely still a threat, right? It's not to knock anybody's skill at all. It's you want to see a guy reward themselves for putting themselves in the position to have that wide open shot. And it goes back to even Balsamo just being now a dual threat, having a couple of assists, and also having a goal to go along with that.
Half of the second quarter has elapsed as Sheridan working on the Syracuse commit, Louis D'Agostino. Now it's Bowden, 1 goal today for him. Drives left, feeds it to X. Romweber at GLE. Finds Olsen, cutting inside. Good check by Shapiro, but a flag for an illegal check, and that'll stop play as Bekiers picks it up.
Look, I am impressed by Chaminade's ability right now in this second quarter to slide early. That's an unfortunate call, but at the same time, they're getting the ball out of the Green Waves players' sticks, right? That trip happens. It's kind of feet tangled, but at the same time, the trip occurs because the slide's coming.
So a tough check by Shapiro. We mentioned Chaminade needs to win those shorty matchups they have in the second quarter, but just a tough play there.
Well, and you'll look for the Chaminade short stick D-middies to understand that slide is coming, right? So they're still going to come out and apply that pressure, but at the same time, they're going to play knowing that the slide's coming.
Olsen and Romweber playing catch. Watch out for Gavin Romweber, 20 goals on the year. As Schobel finds Fodor, skip pass, Romweber doesn't shoot it, gets a return. Picks up the ball off a skip, 37 on the shot clock. Romweber working up top. Falk left wing, fires high. And we're back to even strength as Delbarton controls.
Yeah, that's a great job by Chaminade's man-down unit. You know, keeping with the pressure that's allowed them opportunities to have shots that Walsh is going to see. You know, really extending themselves, coming out and playing, really matching feet and matching sticks against this Delbarton offense.
Romweber and Duran on the near side. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, 16 on the shot clock. Romweber rolls left, good check by Duran. Romweber gets top side and shoots it out of bounds. 9 to shoot, and Hauser will have it at X.
Yeah, it's great one-on-one defense by Duran. You know, just staying patient, trusting in his athleticism, and understanding that, hey, if the poles aren't going to slide, we just have to force a shot that my goalie's going to see.
Hauser around the net. Good defense by Fitzpatrick. 3 to shoot. Romweber will just throw it to the end line, and a great defensive possession for Chaminade.
Yeah, you know, it started with the man down. Chaminade did a great job approaching out to shooters and then getting their matchups and doing a good job of sliding and recovering. You know, the other thing, too, coming into it and talking with Coach Kovacek, I brought up the fact that in New Jersey they don't play with the shot clock, right? So how does that speed up your offense? Does it allow them to settle in? Do they play a little bit faster? Do they have the poise to really work for the shot that's going to give them the best opportunity to score? We're going to see that throughout the course of the day, especially as we have a nice, warm, sunny day here on Long Island.
And if we were playing here last year, we wouldn't have a shot clock, but the new rules come in for New York State. Chaminade is now experienced with the shot clock, and they played against Darien in Connecticut where they didn't have a shot clock, and it kind of worked to their favor because they can get these rebounds and these extra chances as they call timeout.
100%. You know, it's something that I think is a great thing for the game. I would love to continue to see the high school game in all states start to mirror that college level, especially looking at two teams like this where the large majority, if not all, of these kids are going to have an opportunity to play in college.
So we will go to break. 4:09 left in the first half on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
.409 left in the first half. I'm Thomas Gamba alongside Isaac Neal. And Isaac, in the second quarter, Chaminade has scored 3 goals, defended well against Delbarton, not allowing a single one, and they've extended this lead and given themselves a nice cushion.
Yeah, it's one of those things as both teams try to figure out what's going to be most successful for them offensively. You know, going back to that conversation with Coach Kovacek, he understands that, you know, he's very senior-laden. They've got a deep senior class. They talk about that next man-up play. They talk about that next play mentality, and it's gonna be tested here today.
Let's see if they can get through it here. 3:45 to go in the second quarter. Gillis, 3 goals already, feeds it inside. Pizzo couldn't catch it, but Fox corrals the rebound. Gillis on the near side, 15 to shoot. Lynch fakes, shoots it wide to the right, and it'll go out of bounds, staying with Chaminade. 12 to shoot with Connor Cutton.
I won't call it the announcer's curse, but I appreciate Lynch dropping his hands, letting one go. That was a very close miss. You know, kudos to Chaminade for moving the ball off the ground and being unselfish as they get it around, trying to find that mismatch with the Delbarton defense.
Cutting 5 to shoot, and a steal by Delbarton. Racing up the near side, it's Trafford, and he'll clear. Romweber on the near side, transition, Pedicano fires, and he scores! Will Pedicano with his 8th goal of the year, and Delbarton is within 2.
Look, we just talked about it, right? I just mentioned that conversation with Coach Kovacek. He really talked about making that next play. Delbarton does a great job of sliding early, forcing the ball out of Chaminade's stick, and then you see it, right? Delbarton wants to go out and play. These are guys, these are big-time players making big-time plays. That's a phenomenal shot from the long pole. Put it exactly where every long pole is taught to shoot. But also kudos to the Green Wave offense for having their heads up, looking to play in transition when they haven't had the ball in a little bit.
Great feed by Romweber. That's his 19th assist on the year. As with 3:10 to go in the first half, it's 6-4 Chaminade. Back to the faceoff dot. Ball trying to win another. Both guys clamping down. Quinault there for Delbarton, and ball wins the faceoff. Ball down the left side, trips, and that's a flag. Balsamo will pick up the rebound, and now the Flyers can slow it down.
See, and that's a tough play for Delbarton, right? They do a good job of tying up Ball, which is going to make him essentially think on that next face-off. That's a tough push to take. You know, Ball does a great job pushing in transition, looking to make something happen for his offense, and by and large, they're going to get that ball back.
2:35 to go in the second quarter. Gillis driving left, fires wide to the right, and that'll stop play as Chaminade goes on the man up. They're already 1 for 1 today. Gillis scored on the previous man up. See if they can convert again.
Yeah, you see the Chaminade bench right now sending in the play with guys that are coming out, guys looking to give each other that thumbs up, understanding what they're looking to run and the look they want to get. And this is a big man up for Chaminade right now, right? They're doing a good job at the face-off X. Almost under 2 minutes to play in this half. They've done a good job of kind of stealing and gaining the momentum, but then at the same time, they have to capitalize on these opportunities against a very strong defense from Delbarton and a very good goalie in Cage.
Andrew Johnson goes to the penalty box, and 2 guys to watch out here, Cooper Mendelson and Brendan Sim. They don't get a ton of playing time. They're not some of those top 6 guys, but they do make an impact, especially on the man up.
Yeah, you know, it's important in any school like Chaminade to understand your role, right? You see some of these guys, even at the midfield, who might be underclassmen. They have to just do a good job of playing defense and clearing the ball. If you're coming out for the EMO, you got to make sure that your stick's on point, continue to share the ball, and take advantage of your opportunities.
Flyers work it to X. Lynch up top. Feeds it back behind the cage. Cutton That point guard of the offense finds Balsamo, and he scores! The second of the day for John Balsamo, and it's 7-4 Chaminade.
Look, that contingency of Gillis, Balsamo, and Cutton, those guys are always looking for each other. It's a great job by Cutton, just maintaining a little bit of poise behind the goal, right? Forcing, or showing like he's going to go left, coming back right for Balsamo, getting to a spot where he has an angle for the shot, dropping his hands and letting one go, changing his levels, go celebrate with your teammates.
Right through the wickets of Shimko, and the Flyers with another answer. They bring that lead back to 3, and they're now 2 for 2 on the man up today. Really important, as you mentioned.
And we said it before, right? It's important for both of these teams to take advantage of that. Just like right now, like Green Wave, they end up with that face-off win, but at the same time, Chaminade comes up with the ball, and now they're looking to clear again.
Nice play by Battaglia in the midfield, swimming right around the defense, and Chaminade looking to get across the timeline as a whistle on the play.
I think they're looking at a shot clock reset right now.
I think so. Because the shot clock did go off, but it shouldn't go off until Chaminade gets it in the box. So the officials talking things over right now.
Yeah, coaches aren't happy about that one. You know, under 2 minutes. They want to do a good job at getting downhill and going to create some more offense, try to make this a 4-goal game.
So 1:52 to go in the first half, and make sure to tune in on May 15th at 4:45. It's the NSCHSAA AAA Championship presented by Catholic Health from Hofstra University. Chaminade and St. Anthony's. The Flyers defeated St. Anthony's 11-10 just a couple weeks ago, and that is going to be a fantastic matchup.
It is. You know, it's funny. I'm watching the Varsity Media Sportscast, whether you're at a practice or at your kids' practices, and you're saying to yourself, wow, right? Looking at Chaminade going up, St. Anthony's fighting back. I mean, this is a game that all of these boys sign up for, right? Whether you're wearing the black and gold or the gold and red. So expect that matchup to really foot the bill in terms of it. St. Anthony's having something to play for and Chaminade having something to prove.
And listen, it means everything to these kids, especially at Chaminade, to defeat St. Anthony's. They already did it once, but they want to win that last one. And I go to Chaminade, I hear it all the time. Hey, we're focused on St. Anthony's. That's the goal. And they're definitely going to be ready for that one. It is going to be a great matchup.
100%. And, you know, looking at it now, looking at how Chaminade's playing, you know, they have the Regs Rock game next week against Manhasset. You know, a lot of these guys are from Manhasset and from that area, grew up playing against guys from Manhasset or with them in PAL. So not looking past this game, understanding that this game has just as much at stake as the next one does.
Gillis shoots it high against the double team and a whistle on the play. He stepped in the crease, so it's Delbarton possession.
Look, I love the way that Jimmy Gillis is dodging, right? Physical. He's making guys have to put hands on. If he doesn't end up in the crease there, it's not a bad shot, right? It's one of those where they're going to have backup. But at the end of the day, they have to do a good job of drawing slides and finding some of those step downs that they were getting in the first quarter.
Dotro lobs it across midfield, and it's Johnson down the far side. He'll clear with 1:05 to go in this first half. Can Delbarton throw another punch and get within 2?
Yeah, you know, Chaminade does a good job of pushing out. I'm sure Delbarton's going to want, as they go into this huddle with Coach Schreiber on the offensive end with Coach Kovacek, saying, hey, let's work for the best shot. Let's work for the last shot. You know, Chaminade's done a good job in transition, kind of manipulating some matchups. But look for Chaminade's defense to push out right now and try to take Delbarton out of what it is they'd like to accomplish coming out of this timeout, and not let this go and keep this at either a 3-goal or maybe even add one and make it a 4-goal deficit going into halftime.
And Delbarton has a lot of college players as well. But on this final possession, who are you looking at? You see the college commits here. It's just outstanding.
I mean, it's kind of by committee, right? It's about looking at what matchup can they manipulate, right? So as you put in a play in any huddle, any offensive huddle, looking up and down the litany of guys that are going to go play in college, it could be anybody's ball. So who's going to draw a slide, right? Who's going to do a good job of creating that matchup? And as you look at this list, there's a lot of guys that can do it. So kind of letting that offense free flow, giving them an opportunity to find the best shot against the Chaminade defense and the pressure.
Would you look at that short stick matchup, either if it's against Conley, Bakirs, or Shapiro? Would you target that if you're Delbarton?
You know, one thing you see from Chaminade right now, they're starting to slide a little bit early. So looking to draw that slide, maybe move it twice, and then attack right away. You know, one thing that a lot of teams will do is wait for that 15-second mark to then attack. It's going to be important for Delbarton to go get one, and they're having pretty good success not letting Quinn Ball go forward at the X. You know, it's in the back of your mind as a coach, but you're saying to yourself, we want to step up to the challenge, right? Take a couple of punches, throw a few back, and show Chaminade we're not stepping down or backing away from this game.
Shapiro and Bakirs are the two short sticks out there. We'll see if Chaminade targets one of those matchups. Romweber will have it on the near side against Trainer. And an assist on that previous goal to Petticano. As up top, it's Bowden.
Yeah, shot clock's not a factor right now. But at the same time, I want to see Delbarton be aggressive, right? They don't want to back away from this fight. They want to make sure Chaminade has a great understanding that, hey, we're here to play, and we're going to go into halftime no matter what the deficit is. We're coming out firing.
Olsen against Shapiro. Drives left, slide by Fitzpatrick, and he'll force it out to the near side. Bowden. Defended by Trainer, 28 seconds to go in the first half. Delbarton looking to bring it within 2. Falk across to the left side. Sheridan. That's Hauser looking to split inside against Shapiro. 15 seconds to go. Hauser with a backhand. He scores! A humongous goal for Delbarton as Chase Hauser puts it home.
And that's a credit to Coach Kovacek and his staff, right? Saying, hey, we don't need to hold for the last shot. We want to find the best matchup. We're going to talk about this all game. Going to continue to say it. They do a great job of drawing slides, getting the ball back behind X, which manipulates that defense for who's going to slide. Is the slide coming in upfield? Is it going to come underneath? Are we going to turn them? That's a great job by Delbarton to just be patient and find the matchup that's going to give them the highest quality shot.
And they go right at that short stick, Shapiro, and it works for them. Chase Hauser with the goal there, and it's 7-5 with 12.8 to go, and maybe we could see a Fogo goal here, a quick chance. Quinn Ball goes at it with Trzynski.
Look, it's one of those things, right? Trzynski has the stop because he understands what Ball wants to do, and now he's going to go play a little bit himself.
He shoots it wide to the left, 3 seconds to go, and it'll be Chaminade ball. That might do it for the first half. Fitzpatrick at the end line. Just going to chuck it downfield. Hail Mary pass, and that's out of bounds as that'll do it. 7-5 Chaminade in a fantastic first half as CHS leads by 2. So we'll go to break here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. James Gillis leading the charge with 3 goals for the Flyers. As make sure to stay tuned for the second half. Chaminade leads by 2.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
At St. Francis Heart Center, we're not just regional heart experts. We share our greater success with the world. We don't just pioneer technology. We do it more than anywhere on Greater Long Island. And we don't just win awards. We deliver greater outcomes for people like you. As New York's only specialty designated cardiac center, we're not satisfied with just being good. This is Long Island. This is St. Francis Heart Center. And greater lives here.
Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any team looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
The loose ball, Keyshawn White has it. He's just going to let it fly. Oh! Keyshawn White from half court. That is cash! What a way to end the third quarter.
Look at this. Merrill. No slide. No problem. Gary Merrill goes top corner.
Varsity Media offers sports coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email Ben at varsitymedia.net.
Pole goal, yes! A man down pole goal as well. Busking, the skip somehow found its way through. BTB and a save! At the buzzer, we had
the Long Island Lacrosse Showcase is the premier opportunity for the high school players from Long Island to be recognized for their lacrosse skills. For over a decade, this event has been widely recognized as the premier event for exposure before college coaches of all levels. Players showcase their abilities while competing to earn a spot to represent their county in the Long Island Showcase Nassau versus Suffolk Games. Hosted in collaboration with the high school lacrosse coaches of Nassau and Suffolk counties, the Long Island Lacrosse Showcase had over 90 college coaches attend various rounds of the showcase. Make sure to register today.
Two-man game. Nice save up high.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
He's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off X 3 in a row now.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media. High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
At St. Francis Heart Center, we're not just regional heart experts. We share our greater success with the world. We don't just pioneer technology. We do it more than anywhere on Greater Long Island. And we don't just win awards. We deliver greater outcomes for people like you. As New York's only specialty designated cardiac center, we're not satisfied with just being good. This is Long Island. This is St. Francis Heart Center. And greater lives here.
Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any team looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
The loose ball, Keyshawn White has it. He's just going to let it fly. Oh! Keyshawn White from half court. That is cash! What a way to end the third quarter.
Look at this. Merrill. No slide. No problem. Gary Merrill goes top corner.
Varsity Media offers sports coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Pole goal, yes! A man down pole goal as well. Busking.
We're back on the Varsity Media Sports Network for the second half. Chaminade and Delbarton. I'm Thomas Gamma alongside Isaac Neal. And Isaac, Chaminade leading after the first half, but Delbarton made a little push at the end there, scoring that goal with Chase Hauser.
Yeah, so far, a very exciting game. When you're looking at the stats, some of the things that stick out to me, number one are the clears, right? Delbarton doing a good job of getting some stops, but they've messed it up in the clear a couple of times. Chaminade doing a much better job clearing today, which is extending some of their offensive possessions. But the one thing that's not on here that we're going to have to look at throughout the course of the game are the assists, right? How are teams manufacturing goals? Chaminade's starting to slide a little bit more, and I anticipate Delbarton doing a little bit more of a shoot or share, and then at the same time for Chaminade, continuing now to have that two slide, force some of those sticks and balls down on the ground for Delbarton, and then to get up and go play and try to make this more than a two-goal game as they go into the fourth quarter.
It was a pretty dominant second quarter for the Chaminade Flyers until Chase Hauser with that big goal. 2 for Delbarton in the period, and Chaminade with 4.
Well, both of these teams, they head to their respective corners through halftime. Coaches are up with the whiteboards, really talking through the different groups, both the the face-off group that we're seeing now for Delbarton and Chaminade, but their defensive and offensive units as well. Those chess pieces, how do they get rematched? How do they now start to either slide, settle in? I also anticipate Delbarton jumping into a little bit of that 10-man ride, trying to get back in that plus column as far as their clears and rides go.
So 20 seconds in to this third quarter. Balsamo controls on the left side. 2 assists and 2 goals for him in that first half. Pizzo down the right alley. Checked by Johnson to X with Cutton. Shielded off by Pallone. Cutting around the cage. Backhand goes wide to the left. Connolly chasing the rebound, and he'll get the backup.
Yeah, Chaminade staying with that. Let's attack and play fast, right? Really keeping this Delbarton defense on their toes. On their heels as they go right at them.
Looking to go at him again. It's Balsamo working it back to midfield. Now he'll go one-on-one around the Lynch screen. Core with a good check, and he forces it to Gillis. Working on Popham. 3 goals for Gillis in the first half as he peels it out to the top. 20 to shoot. Lynch working on Pedicano. Drives in. Feeds it in front. Cutton couldn't catch the pass, and Shimko scoops it up.
Yeah, that's still a good take, though. Getting downhill by Lynch, looking to be unselfish, really get his teammates involved, trying to add some more points into different guys' points column.
So Delbarton will clear their 4th of the game. And at X, they control.
Yeah, this Chaminade defense, they're definitely down there waiting for the ball to be on their end. They want to come out, they want to pressure, they want to force some bad looks and bad shots from this Delbarton defense, or offense, and then looking for Delbarton right there, taking advantage of situations.
And Fodor might have hit the post there, or did that go off the edge of the net? Fodor fell in the net, and he's helped up by Walsh. What is the call here? I think that hit the crossbar.
It definitely hit the post. Refs are going to say he was pushed into the crease, so they're going to call. I'm surprised not a loose ball push. They might have to bump this up to a minute penalty.
So look at Fodor right there. He hit the post, but the net moved a little bit.
Yeah, Fodor doing a good job of taking advantage of the fact that the Chaminade defense wants to push out, backdooring his guy. The refs are really going to look to make sure that this game stays, not within reach, but more so just poised, right? They want to make sure guys aren't laying each other out as they're going to the goal. But from the Chaminade defense, they're not going to cut down on any of their physicality for the sakes of the ref.
So Trainer heads to the penalty box, and Delbarton with a good start. They get the steal from Core, and then Fodor with a huge chance. Doesn't convert, but they'll be on the man up.
Yeah, that next play attitude that Coach Kovacek talks about is going to be very key here, right? They have an opportunity, or had an opportunity, for a dunk goal, and now they're back a little man up. But looking at that Chaminade defensive lower man or man down unit coming out and getting in guys' hands, really pushing this Delbarton defense backwards.
Schobel to Fodor, looking for the inside feed, swims left, and finds Hauser. 1 goal in that second quarter. 5 different goal scorers for Delbarton today. As Fodor works it up top. Schobel, inside feed. Hauser fakes and scores! The second of the day for Chase Hauser, and it's 7-6.
Yeah, that's a tough goal for Chaminade to give up. They killed the extra that man down opportunity. They did a good job of just extending, but at the same time, as guys are trying to get matched up, Delbarton does a good job. Head up, bang the ball down to that low right corner, and a really good job for Delbarton, really keeping Walsh kind of going from his toes back up, or back down to his heels and back up again. Good finish off stick for Delbarton. And for them to come out and get the first goal of this quarter, that in the half, that definitely resets them right now.
And some great passing. You mentioned a lot of skip passes, and Chaminade trying to protect that crease. They couldn't. As Hauser with the finish, and we're back to the faceoff dot. Minardo on ball. Minardo wins it as he shovels it up ahead. Arid pass to the near side. Falk double teamed right away. Falls to the turf. That's a flag on Gerbasi. Rebound still available. Kicked around by Trzynski, and players pushing each other down. Another flag flies as D'Agostino throwing punches. And the Chaminade bench in a frenzy here. Connolly is talking to Romweber. He has to be pushed away by Lynch. Walsh is shoving people. And the officials trying to get this covered here.
Yeah, refs doing a good job of stepping in. Coaches from both benches doing a good job of stepping in. This is one of those plays where anytime a guy gets knocked out of bounds in front of a bench, there's going to be some chirps. There's going to be guys, maybe opening their mouths a little bit. But we're looking for the refs to get this right and talk with each coach about how they're going to play coming out of a lot of flags down, no hats down, but a lot of flags down, and try to regain the composure that the referees have to make sure withstands and withholds throughout this game.
So it was an original penalty on Peter Gerbasi of Chaminade, but then the extracurriculars might get us to even strength. There was a lot of pushing and shoving from the Chaminade side. Mentioned D'Agostino. Connolly was right in the face of Romweber. Let's see what the official call is here.
Yeah, looking at this replay, they do a good job with the flag down. Guys are trying to get the push to kind of dead the ball, but at the same time, the pushing adds to a little bit more of the penalties that are going to come out. So you'd like to see, the coaches kind of call the guys together, get everybody's heads back on straight, make sure everybody understands there's a lot of game to play. You don't want to see somebody potentially get ejected or put in the box, for more than a minute.
I think this is going to be multiple penalties on Chaminade because I saw a lot of shoving after the play from the Chaminade side. But again, we'll see. Delbarton was definitely involved in this scuffle here.
Yeah, well, kudos to the ref right now. I mean, they're talking it through. They want to make sure that they respond to the behaviors of the athletes in the right way so that this game can move forward. But also, you see the Chaminade benches and the Delbarton bench, they just want to know what's going on so they know what to call. How many guys are going to be down, or Chaminade going to be down? What does the call look like in terms of whether it's 1 minute, 2 minutes stacked up on top of each other because it hits the head in the push? So, good job by the referees just talking this out, taking their time, and understanding that they need to get this right.
They're under the pressure of the two coaches here, Coach Moran, Coach Kovacek, right near the refs. They want to know.
Yeah, well, a lot of it too. Like you see a lot of college games nowadays. You're watching some of the NCAA playoff games for each respective conference. In each game there are a few 2-minute non-releasables, 3-minute non-releasables. These coaches understand that these things are going to happen, right? These are two very good schools playing against each other, and while you always want to see cooler heads prevail, at the same time these guys are out there laying it on the line for their school and under a national spotlight right now.
And no matter what the call is, Isaac, as a coach, how do you get your players back in the game, whether you're Chaminade and you're possibly down on the man down, or you're Delbarton and you're on the man up?
Well, it kind of goes to what I said before, right? It's things that teams practice. So every team practices being 1 man down, 2 men down. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't practice having possibly to be 3 men down. But we also practice what to do in these situations from a man-up perspective, right? So playing within yourselves. You see the head official right now having a conversation with both coaches, making sure that the scores table is going to have it together, making sure that they get the right numbers in the box. But a lot of it's saying, hey, there's a lot of game left to play, right? We're looking at over 20 minutes of gameplay left. So what happens now? We want to get right. We want to make sure that kids are playing the game the right way and not really putting their team in a precarious situation because of a penalty or something where we have to posture and bump heads a little bit.
And what do you think's going through the mind of Kieran Walsh here? He just let up a goal and possibly facing a tough situation again.
Look, this is a goalie who is going to go play Division I, right? He's wearing that number 44 for a reason. He's somebody saying, all right, guys, let's make sure we settle in. Let's make sure that we play within ourselves. Let's also make sure, hey, we get this save. We got to clear it the right way. When you're playing 2 men down, that's something that a lot of teams don't practice as much. So having the proper understanding of, hey, this might be a 2-minute long penalty. We have to make sure that after we kill it, we clear the ball the right way and we have the ball knowing that we're only up by 1.
And the officials have made a decision here. Have they signaled it yet? We don't think so. We haven't seen an official signal yet up to the press box, but they did talk it over with the coaches. So they have Hauser in the box for Delbarton, Lynch and Gerbasi in the box for the Flyers. So the scuffle, both teams get a penalty, and Gerbasi gets the initial penalty. So they'll just be 1 man down for Chaminade.
Yeah, the one I'm curious about, Gillis might be the in-home right now, so seeing if he takes a knee. I know that they're only 2 men down, but was there a bench penalty as well? Either way, they're going to play 5-on-4 right now.
Schobel at the top, plays with Rom Weber. They work it back to Schobel. Falk, left side, has a goal today.
Yeah, looking at this that Chaminade man down right now, it kind of benefits them not only to be playing against 5, but also to have their 4 pulls out. They've done a really good job man down in terms of extending their reach and their length and being in guys' hands.
Rom Weber and Schobel playing catch. Now it's Falk. Faking back up top, back to even strength. Fodor splitting left. Rolls around Fitzpatrick. Great checks by Fitzpatrick. Fodor has to get it out. Schobel. And did he score?
He did not score. That went over, but it's as that second penalty for Delbarton releases. So right now you're looking at a short 6-on-5 for Delbarton.
My apologies on that one with the jerseys and our viewpoints. Pretty
hard
to see
here.
There
were a lot of fans and parents down here that were hoping and trying to wish that ball into the goal. It was a close miss.
Delbarton keeps it on the man up. Fodor left side. Give and go. Right side, Rom Weber to Testa and lost it. Connolly with the steal, and it's Duran up the far side. Looking to clear for Chaminade, and he will. Huge play by Connolly from behind. Here he comes.
Yeah, that's a great play by Gavin Duran. I had the privilege of coaching him when he was in 8th grade. He was a starter on LSM for us at Port Washington Schreiber High School. That's just, a big-time player making a big-time play. We had talked about it prior as the refs were trying to figure out what was going on. For Walsh, he doesn't have to see a shot, right? Because the guys in front of him do their job in terms of making sure that they're extending themselves and then getting that ball up off the turf. That's a huge stop for Chaminade. And now, as Coach Moran wants to make sure his boys play within themselves.
Chaminade back to even strength as Lynch and Gerbasi are out of the box. Balsamo right corner, going one-on-one with Core. Gets to X, stop and go, around the cage. Balsamo rolls left, faking the shot. Good double team by Popham. And Balsamo still goes one-on-one, 30 to shoot. Balsamo out to Connolly, and Lynch around the horn, cutting. Looking for Atwell as he gets his first touch of the game. The junior from Malvern. Gillis at X, fires high, and that goes out of bounds, staying with Chaminade, 17 to shoot. And number 17, Sean Connolly, will control.
Yeah, that's a great job by Chaminade's offense, looking to find that matchup that they want. Gillis coming off of that pick with his left hand. That's a great miss. Great take on the goal. Now under 10, they're going to look to put one on again.
Lynch rolls left, double team comes, and he scores! The third of the day for Gavin Lynch, and exactly what the Flyers needed as they lead by 2.
See, and for someone like Lynch, phenomenal player, go back to Gillis's shot. That kind of relaxes the defense a little bit, right? So it allows now, there's no slide coming, and then when that slide does come, it's coming from too far. It's a great job by Lynch just to get his chest squared to the goal and drop one in and get rewarded.
So the third of the day for Lynch, and that trio of Gillis, Balsamo, and Lynch have taken all 9 goals for CHS. Gillis and Lynch with the hat tricks, Balsamo with 2. As we go back to the face-off dot, and Ball wins it with a head of steam down the middle. Ball into the box, waits, good check from behind, and it's picked up by Shimko. Incredible play by Rolke as he will clear.
Yeah, they're making him earn it. They're not going to let Ball just run right down the alley and stick one. That's a good job not giving up on the play and let that transition into offense for Delbarton.
So Fodor has it at the top, and after Lynch scored his third. Good response from Delbarton after the face-off win by Ball. Really nice play by Rolke. And Brandon Fodor against D'Agostino. We've seen that matchup a lot as Testa has it on the right side. Back to Fodor. He'll go one-on-one with D'Agostino, 45 to shoot. Near side, it's Hauser. 2 goals today. To X with Schobel, rolling left against Meyerhofer. Far side, they get it up top for Testa. Bad pass, skipping up to the Chaminade bench and out of bounds.
Yeah,
Fodor could not get it.
His foot was on the line. That was a great hustle, but his foot was definitely on the line.
So he almost saved it. Called it a little too early there. But
yeah,
Fodor,
he almost had it. His foot was on the line, so the refs will say he's playing the ball while he's out of bounds. You hear Coach Kovacek from down on the field saying he's got to sprint. Those are guys who are looking to manufacture a look from the Delbarton offense. Looked like more of a set that was drawn up for a play for a particular shot. You kind of want to see them go back to attacking those Chaminade short sticks, getting Chaminade to slide. That was giving them a lot of success in that first half.
Balsamo stop and go against Core. He's been shielding Balsamo a lot today, having some success recently as Balsamo can't find any space. Sim rolling right to X with Cutton. Looking to play make once again. Backs it out to the end line. Shielded by Pallone. Cutting around the cage. Can't get top side, so he'll pass it off to Gillis. And he backs it out. 35 to shoot. Gillis against Pedicano. Drives right. Shoots just wide to the left. And it'll stay with Chaminade.
I will say I'm extremely impressed by watching Jimmy Gillis play live in the sense that he's not afraid of his right hand. Right? When you watch him play, all of his highlights, they're all left-handed. He's starting to add to his game a little bit more in terms of how he wants to finish the ball and how he wants to be known as a threat.
Saved by Shimko. Chaminade corrals the rebound with a new shot clock. This is what they've done all day. Long possessions as Lynch shoots it out of bounds, staying with the Flyers, cutting on the backup again.
These guys definitely aren't afraid to shoot the ball, right? They're doing a good job of getting the ball in and out of each other's sticks and letting the ball go before Delbarton's able to slide.
Sim and Cutton at X. Pallone defending Cutton. Drives across GLE and finds the popping Pizzo. Near side, Gillis. One-on-one with Pedicano as he finds Pizzo. Saved by Shimko.
Yeah, great wrinkle that Chaminade throws in there. I love to see Gillis kind of get rid of that pick and throw the ball to his teammate coming on inside. It's a good shot, good save, and that's what, Coach Kovacek talks about, making that next play.
Battaglia forced the yard sale on Falk, and that's going Chaminade's way.
Yeah, Chaminade hasn't turned down their defense at all in this game. They're really flying to the ball, looking to create offense through those defensive turnovers.
Gillis looking to clear, splits around Wamweber, puts him in the spin cycle, And gets across midfield as a flag pops out. That's on Delbarton.
Yeah, they're going to call offsides there. You know, Gillis kind of toyed with the Delbarton defense, or the Delbarton ride team.
And another flag popped out later on the near side. So this might be 2 penalties against Delbarton.
Yeah, refs are going to blow this one dead. They got guys just running all over the field. You know, 2 flags down, though. They should be blowing it dead and allowing Chaminade's man-up offense to get ready to go.
Now 4 flags are down as Connolly at X goes inside. A lot more Delbarton defenders out there. Lynch up top, working on Pedicano. Stop and go. High pass for Pizzo. Corrals it and gets it to X. Balsamo and Cutton 30 to shoot. Cutton at GLE. Probing, scanning, skipping. Connolly with a hitch. Drives, shoots wide to the right. And Chaminade will go on the man up.
Yeah, Chaminade's going to be man up again. You know, credit to the riding attackmen from Delbarton, but at the same time, you want to see Coach Kovacek kind of get them a little bit less frustrated, right? Some of those penalties, those are silly plays. That's something where you don't want to put that man-up offense from Chaminade out on the field, but there are things that you can control. You know, you see a lot of guys talk in college about the ride and the attackmen, you know, committing fouls on that ride. In this case, you want to hope that it doesn't hurt Delbarton as they continue to scrap and stay in. This is a 2-goal game, but some of those penalties can really hurt your team as play goes on.
So 3:17 to go. Referees still have to pick up all these flags that are on the turf before we can start play again.
You know, I will say, though, credit to this Nassau officiating crew for just getting the calls right? When you see a lot of flags go down, it's because everybody sees the same thing. Guys are looking to maintain a set of maturity throughout this game, and so far they've been doing a great job in getting the calls right.
Especially with that scuffle, they got it completely right, and Chaminade ended up clearing off that penalty, but great job by the refs as Balsamo scores! Another hat trick for a Chaminade attackman. It's Balsamo with his 3rd, and it's 9-6 Flyers.
Yeah, that's a quick hitter, and again, going back to an opportunity where you could let your defense just settle in and play 6-on-6. To commit those fouls is tough, but this is a great job. You know, Chaminade puts their shooters up top. Balsamo does a good job normally as a facilitator, stepping in, freeing his hands, and changing his levels on a really good goalie.
And a great poise of play here by Chaminade. Delbarton with the good start to get it to 7-6, but quick answer from Chaminade. 2 goals with 3:10 to go in the 3rd.
You know, so you want to see how does Delbarton react right now, right? Understanding that there's still about 15 minutes left in this game, and they've been generating good looks throughout the course of the game. They've been able to throw punches back. If you sit back on the ropes and let Chaminade run, you're going to find yourself in a quick 15-minute game right now. They do a good job coming out winning that face-off, and now they're looking to push a little bit and punch back like they have been all game.
Johnson, kick, save, rebound to Falk, stopped by Walsh. And a loose ball picked up by D'Agostino. A couple of nice saves by the future Notre Dame Irishman.
Hey, if you're Walsh, that's exactly what you needed, right? Not like he's not seeing the ball well throughout the course of this game, but to step in there in an unsettled situation and get a stop is huge.
Gillis scores his 4th of the day. As in transition, it's 10-6 Chaminade.
Hey, that starts with Walsh, right? If I'm Gillis, I'm sprinting down and I'm giving Walsh a big high five. You see all the polls right now getting really excited for Walsh's stop. That great stop in transition creates transition the other way. And if the ball's in 3-stick, it's going to the back of the net, especially in transition like that.
Timeout, Delbarton. The Chaminade top trio is dominating today. Gillis with 4 goals, and Lynch and Balsamo with 3. And what a play by Ball. The Fogo doesn't usually stay out there on the attacking side, but a great assist to Gillis.
Well, and that leads into what I was getting ready to say too, right? They're doing it in a lot of different ways. We know Jimmy Gillis can finish. We know Balsamo can distribute the ball. But a lot of these guys are doing a good job of keeping their teammates involved in this game, and it's making it for the jumping around, the hooting and hollering that we're seeing from the Chaminade bench, because everybody's involved. There might be 2-3 guys scoring, but it starts with Walsh, it ends with Gillis, and everybody in between, right? Everybody's out on that field looking to make a play in support of their team moving forward.
So Chaminade with 3 straight goals, and they lead 10-6. Design, build, and maintain your dream home. J&R Custom Landscaping has been proudly offering landscape designs for over 30 years. Give them a call today. So 2:40 to go in the 3rd quarter. And Isaac, how can Delbarton respond? We've seen their ability to do that this game, but this one has gotten a little away from them late in this 3rd quarter.
So, in speaking with the coaches this week, You know, number one, Coach Kovacek and his team, they know how to come back in games, right? It's something that Coach Moran's very well aware of as well. But I think the first thing you have to tell your kids in the huddle, there's no such thing as a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer in high school lacrosse. So understanding that you can claw back into this game by finishing some of their shots, by finishing some of the possessions on the defensive end. But the big thing right now that I see is going to be staying out of the penalty box, right? Emotions are running a little high. Delbarton comes into this game nationally ranked as well. They want to win. For Chaminade, it's making sure that they don't let the game get away from them as well, right? Keeping the game simple, continuing to share the ball, and manufacture good looks. But for Delbarton, they got to get the ball up off the carpet, clear it as well as they have been, but they have to take advantage of some of the looks that they're getting.
And they got to convert from the face-off dot. Ball has started to get in a rhythm a little bit. See if Kane Quinault can do something at the X. Both players set up, 2:40 to go in the third quarter. I'm Thomas Gamma alongside Isaac Neal as Quinault goes a little too early again.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate too, right? You know, you talk about 2-goal and 3-goal swigs of the sport of lacrosse. Giving the ball back to the other team makes it tough. You know, Delbarton's done a good job of keeping some of these ground balls 50-50 at the face-off X. But when you're rolling back out the big guns for Chaminade, you got to really lock in on defense and focus on your slides, communicating and getting the next stop and clearing the ball efficiently.
Mendelson checks in for the Flyers and quickly gets a pass from Balsamo. He'll go down the right side against Trafford to X with Cutton as we reach the 2-minute mark in this third quarter. Cutting around the cage, backs it back to X, defended by Trafford. Stop and go, switches left, Cutton shoots, saved by Shimko, and a big one for Delbarton. But a quick steal by Cutton, knocked near the crease of Shimko, but he'll have room to find Popham. And Popham might have stepped out of bounds there, and he did. So unforced errors for Delbarton, and Chaminade gets it back.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, that they got the stop that they needed, but at the same time, they give it right back. Look again right now as cooler heads need to prevail for Delbarton, right? They got to really settle in and play the game. If they find themselves man down again against this unit, that's something that they don't want to have happen.
And a little emotions after the play from Lynch and Pedicano. Pedicano shoved down Lynch, and Lynch had some words for the long stick midfielder as Bowden will clear for Delbarton. So they get the stop, they get the clear. Now can they find a goal? Bowden checked by D'Agostino. Ball is out. Kick near the end line. Bowden pushed down, and that's going Delbarton's way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great play by D'Agostino. This kid is really impressive, right? Flying out of the box, hunting sticks, putting the ball on the ground. You want to see a little bit more poise from the Chaminade defense, not foul there. But either way, they're ready to settle in and play some defense and get a stop.
Sheridan left wing against the short stick Shapiro. Splits left, Bakirs comes with the slide. Sheridan rolls right, fires and scores!
Look, you see it immediately, right? We get excited about it. Delbarton goes right back to attacking those short sticks, making your short stick have to slide and then attacking them again. You know, 1 goal at a time for Delbarton. For Chaminade, they really got to clean up some of their slide packages right now in terms of how they're approaching to some of these dodgers, right? You see that short stick step out, well-timed slide, but he rolls them back and we don't have that second slide, that second pole ready to slide up and then stop that dodger again. That's a great take and finish by Delbarton's offense.
Sheridan with his 5th goal of the year. And it's 10-7 with 1:11 to go. So we saw at the end of the first half, Hauser being able to bring it within 2. Now Delbarton has brought this one within 3. Can they keep pushing here and minimize this deficit a little bit?
Look, they have to keep playing like it's 1 goal at a time because that's really all that it is, right? There are no 2-pointers. So it's one of those they have to take advantage of their offensive sets, which is what their coach has been coaching them to do throughout the course of the prep for this game.
Both teams fighting for the ground ball, and Trzynski comes out with it, goes on the offensive side, and scores! Christian Trzynski makes it a 2-goal game.
Coach Kovacek talked about it, right? Making them earn it at the X. You know, they violate on that first face-off, so Delbarton's got a new face-off guy coming on. They win that ball out, and that's a great job to create offense, right? Get up and go, play fast right away. It's hard for a defense to respond and react in terms of sliding and helping when teams are playing fast.
So that's the 7th different goal scorer for Delbarton, and it's 10-8 with 54 seconds to go in the third. Trzynski and ball back at the dot. Ball kicking it around near the Chaminade end, and Pedicano comes out with it. Nice fake pass, and Pedicano will clear. Gillis chasing him from behind. Pedicano trying to circle around him, And he'll get it out to Johnson. But a quick turnover as Romweber couldn't handle the easy pass. And a big mistake for Delbarton.
Yeah, that definitely is a big mistake, right? When you talk about winning the last minute of a quarter, that's a huge one, especially after a clean win on ball.
30 seconds to go. Farrar Rich with the clear and a timeout by Chaminade. Excuse me. Think so, at least. And the officials talking things over here. I thought it was a timeout by Chaminade. I don't know what they're stop and play here for. Maybe a shot clock issue. And that's exactly what they're doing. 17 on the shot clock. That's what they're signaling.
Look, and again, people and fans might get frustrated. I know as a head coach, I'd probably be frustrated, right, as we're looking to push and go play. But the refs really do have to make sure that they maintain control in this game. And they're doing a really good job of communicating not only with the box, but also with the coaches about, the stoppages of play or about what's going on in the game. It's important.
They're doing a very good job, and shot clock's still an issue here. They're trying to resolve it. Officials talking with the Chaminade bench.
Look, this actually helps Delbarton right now, right? They're down 30 seconds left. They just turned the ball over after a huge face-off win. This allows them to take a deep breath and start talking about, what their slide packages look like and the matchups based on the guys that are on the field right now for Chaminade.
24 seconds, no shot clock for the Flyers. Balsamo into the box, gets top side and shoots it wide to the left. Rebound off of Cutton, picked up by Pallone. 15 seconds to go. Popham near side, finds Core. Working on Balsamo. Long outlet pass picked up by Voorhees. 7 seconds to go. Lynch lost the ball. Snatched by Delbarton. 2 seconds. And that'll do it for the third quarter. 10-8 Chaminade, but Delbarton with 2 goals in the last minute and a half to bring this deficit closer.
Look, this is a big part of why these guys go to the schools they attend for high school, right? They want to compete in these games. Chaminade hits a couple, they get excited. Delbarton's looking to do the exact same thing, and we're heading into the fourth quarter where it really could go either way, right? You're looking at Delbarton kind of figuring out how to manipulate and manufacture goals against Chaminade's defense. Chaminade has not taken their foot off the gas on either end of the field, and it's going to bode well for a very, very exciting fourth quarter.
So we're going to the fourth quarter. Make sure to stay tuned. A top 10 matchup coming down to the wire. Chaminade and Delbarton on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
At St. Francis Heart Center, we're not just regional heart experts. We share our greater success with the world. We don't just pioneer technology. We do it more than anywhere on Greater Long Island. And we don't just win awards. We deliver greater outcomes for people like you. As New York's only specialty designated cardiac center, we're not satisfied with just being good. This is Long Island. This is St. Francis Heart Center. And greater lives here.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Back live on the Varsity Media Sports Network for the fourth quarter. Chaminade and Delbarton, the Flyers lead by 2. I'm Thomas Gambo alongside my partner Isaac Neal. And Isaac, this one coming down to the final minutes. We pictured it, top 5 matchup. This one exactly what we imagined.
Look, as lacrosse enthusiasts, this is exactly what you want to see, right? You want to see kids competing, overcoming a little bit of adversity on both sides, right? Whether that's a deficit, whether that's being man down, whether that's someone with a little bit of an injury or nicked up throughout the course of the week. And for a Saturday in May, this is exactly what you want to see, a 2-goal game going into the fourth quarter.
So both teams looking to get a marquee win and move up in the rankings. It'll be Minardo and Ball to start it off. Delbarton has done a good job at the faceoff dot despite going against a guy who's coming into this one at 86% from the X.
They have. And, when you talk to Coach Kovacek and you look at some of the big picture in terms of what they're working towards, they're getting ready for their playoff competition in New Jersey. For them being able to have that confidence, kind of maybe develop a new identity in terms of how they approach the faceoff X, that's huge for any team, and especially for Delbarton right now as they continue to scrap and pull out a ground ball win on the faceoff to start the fourth quarter.
Trzynski in front for Romweber, and it's knocked away and taken by Walsh, but looks like a flag on the field.
Yeah. The refs are doing a good job, again, of looking at things from all angles. Sometimes these guys will tell you, hey, that wasn't my call. Pete Casper does a good job of getting the flag down and really making sure that this game stays composed as it should be on both sides of the benches.
1 minute penalty for Chaminade, and it'll be a man up for Delbarton with 11:39 to go in the fourth. 10-8 Chaminade, and this could be a huge swing for the Green Wave. I believe it is a man up for Delbarton. They're going the other way here. Looks like Connolly or Trainer in the box for Chaminade, but they're bringing everyone to the other side here. Still don't know what's going on. They definitely signaled a penalty, and it looked like it was for sure.
Yeah, they signaled a slash. I'm curious what happened on that play. But at the same time, you know, again, for Delbarton, they want to make sure they keep themselves out of the penalty box, right? They did a really good job on that ground ball. It must have come on the ground ball, you know, as guys were fighting for it.
It was Menardo. He's in the box right now, so the Fogo almost wins it, gets it to Trasinski, and then a big penalty puts Chaminade on the man up. So the Flyers look to make it a 3-goal game as Cutting behind the net. Swings it up top for John Balsamo. Playing with James Gillis. 4 goals today. Flyers only 3 goal scorers. Lynch, Balsamo, and Gillis.
Yeah, they're back in that 2-2-2 set with Lynch popping off the crease. You know, look for Lynch to get his hands free as Balsamo carries.
Balsamo playing that point guard. To the right wing, gets a return, fakes and finds Lynch, popping out at the left wing as you said. Cutting near GLE. Back to Lynch, has room, fires, he scores!
Called it. Ready?
Lynch with 4 on the day, and the Flyers lead by 3.
We were saying it in the first quarter, right? This is why Gavin Lynch is the player that he is. Being able to free his hands, change his levels. You know, goalie's expecting a shot high again. But as Chaminade does a good job of spinning the ball, shooters are going to shoot, right? So he sees that little bit of an opening and he takes advantage of it. That's a great finish by Tenon White.
And a great fake pass to Gillis on the right side. Just created that little bit of space that he needed to put it home.
Look, it's a double-edged sword. Who do you want to deal with? Do you want to save Gillis's shot or do you want to see Lynch's shot? So how that it really helps in terms of getting those Chaminade hands free when shooters are going to shoot and let the ball go.
Ball wins another face-off, and it's Gillis to try and milk this clock as much as they can. Clock is their friend here, but they still want to be aggressive up by 3.
Yeah, well, it's the fun thing of the shot clock as well, right? So if you're Delbarton, all right, we lost a clean face-off. They haven't lost too many clean face-offs throughout the course of this game. They have an understanding if they get a stop, their offense have been able to manufacture some offense and to score a couple of goals. At the same time, they're very much understanding that, hey, we have a solid rock down here in defense starting with our goalie. We just need to get that next stop.
Mendelson on Dotro at X. The 2 number 24s going at it. Mendelson up top for Lynch, who just scored that goal, his 4th of the game. Far side, Cutting. Drives right down the alley. 33 to shoot. Balsamo at X. Splits left around Core. Good check by Core, keeping Balsamo outside. And he has to roll left and peel it out. Gillis just out of the box. Works on Popham. Popham with a check. They feed it inside through the legs of Lynch and out of bounds. Great defense by Bo Popham.
Yeah, I want to see Gillis throw that ball forward through X. Chaminade's done a really good job of attacking from behind. He throws that ball forward. He might have a little bit of offense coming out the backside.
Dotro with the clear as Romweber on the near side. Hauser stands at X as Romweber will go there with him. They play a 2-man game here. No, we'll get it out. 9:30 to go in the final quarter. 11-8. Chaminade leads. Schobel up top for Romweber. Testa comes into the game for Delbarton.
Yeah, you want to see Delbarton, again, go back to attacking the short sticks, right? Forcing Chaminade to slide. They slide there, and it automatically creates offense. That is a great save by Walsh.
Testa was denied, and here comes Shapiro. Straight up the gut. Finds D'Agostino, but it went off the top of his stick and out of bounds. Just a high pass from Shapiro there.
Yeah, now they got to settle back in. That's an unfortunate turnover, but at the same time, credit to Chaminade's defense, right? They create a shot that Walsh is ready for and wants to see.
So another big save by Kieran Walsh. Been really good today for the Flyers. 7 saves as Delbarton steps out of bounds on the far side. Shapiro, after he turned it over on the last possession, forces a turnover. Balsamo at the logo against Pedicano will set up the offense. Under 9 minutes to go in the fourth. Chaminade bringing in their substitutions. Balsamo goes one-on-one and winds it out to Lynch. Gillis left wing, slowing things down for the Flyers. Loads of time on the shot clock. Connolly comes in and gets it back to Gillis. Pedicano staring him down. Gillis makes a move around the screen. Switches inside, swims through the defense. Gillis scores! Number 5 for James Gillis. He can't be stopped. And it's 12-8 Chaminade.
Look, that's a man dodge right there, right? Gillis takes that pick, goes to his right hand and says, you know what, I want to go get another one lefty. Phenomenal dodge by Gillis. You look at this replay, swims the slide or swims that slip, and then does a good job of putting that off the goalie's offside hip. Tremendous dodge at a pivotal moment in the game, right? Delbarton's doing a good job of manufacturing a couple ground balls and a couple of clears. Gillis says, hey, give me the ball, get out of my way, let me go do what I do best.
A star has arrived in Mineola. Gillis with 5 goals on the day, his 37th of the year, and this kid's just a junior doing it at this level.
Look, he's a young man, credit to his family and the amount of time and energy that they put into his development. He's a guy, Dad and I are talking during halftime. He asked for a case of balls for Christmas. He wants a gym membership, for any holiday. He doesn't want to play video games and sit around and hang out. He's a guy who puts a lot of time and effort into his craft, and it shows in big games like this.
And a turnover for Chaminade as Delbarton brings it up. Mahoney with the clear. Give and go for Falk, driving in, spinning shot goes wide to the left. Romweber picks up the rebound, gets nailed by Atwell, but finds Falk. Falk looking for the inside feed, skips it up top, and Schobel shot it high.
That's great offense by the Green Wave. Good job settling the ball, looking for the best shot, sharing the rock. And again, this game, with respect to Chaminade, is not out of reach for Delbarton. They want to keep this game within reach. They want to get back to finding ways to manufacture good shots and good looks as they continue to play.
Romweber wide to the left end. Delbarton looking for a penalty as Romweber was nailed to the ground by Trainer after the play.
Yeah, Chaminade's physical defense withstands, and it's one of those things where the refs don't see it as anything egregious, right? They're not going to let him shoot. At the same time, you got to turn the corner and bury that ball is a great look.
Schobel at X, dancing with Connolly. Inside roll, thrown to the ground, flag is out as Schobel can't convert. The Keers will pick it up, and it's a man-up situation for Delbarton. So after Gillis' 5th goal, Green Wave with a little pressure here, and you mentioned it, 7:25 on the clock. That's a lot of time.
It is a lot of time, right? And when you're looking at teams who can score goals, and the Green Wave have done a good job of it throughout the course of the season, I'd like to still see Chaminade's defense be ready to slide and support their midfielders. Connolly's a tremendous athlete, but you put him out there on an island against a guy that's going to play in college and wants to get to the goal. Let's give him a little bit of support, and it's going to allow Walsh to see the shots that he's supposed to see and create some saves.
So 7:25 to go in the 4th quarter. Delbarton with a huge man up. Schobel up top, skips it to the left side, gets a return. D'Agostino shielding him off. As Schobel back to the left side.
Yeah, a little bit of a different look here from Chaminade. They're locking off one guy for Delbarton, so it takes Delbarton out of their man up just a little bit.
Kick saved by Walsh off of the shot from Testa. Battaglia grabs the rebound. Circling it against the double team, swims up the near side, and Ryan Battaglia finds Fitzpatrick, but it went off his stick right to Gillis. Gillis driving in short-handed. He shoots, he scores! Another number 6 for James Gillis.
Look, that's one of those look what I found, right? Oh, the refs are flipping it. They're saying that Chaminade was offsides. We're going to give a lot of credit to Battaglia on that ground ball, starting with the Walsh save, and then for Gillis to go down and finish. Now they're back riding again, potentially still man down.
So almost Gillis making it 13-8. But Delbarton gets it across the midfield line. Pedicano looking for that step down. They get it up top. Falk splitting right. In for Romweber. He scores! So the Gillis goal is taken off the board, and Romweber converts.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate turn of events, right? I'm sure Coach Moran is going back to film tomorrow morning, making sure that these players understand how hurtful that goal being taken back is, right? Phenomenal ground ball down by Battaglia leading to the Gillis goal. Someone steps off sides, right? That's an error that they don't want to have in a game of this magnitude.
So Romweber converts, as that's his first goal of the game.
Well, we said it, right? With 7 change left, there was still time for Delbarton to get back in. That's how you let teams back in, right? You have to make sure that you're crisp. Starting at the face-off X, we can't foul, we can't push, we can't go man down, making sure we can't go off sides, right? Count them forward, and then let our players play.
3-goal game, ball to his side, kicked around by Gerbasi and knocked right to Menardo, but a whistle on the play, and a false start by Delbarton. Looked like Falk just kicked it ahead a little bit too early.
Yeah, there was no possession there. Again, that's one of those, if you're the Green Wave, you're looking to get up and get the ball out and go make a play. Got to be a little bit more patient in terms of just letting the game come to them instead of trying to just make 5 plays happen at once.
6:17 to go in the final quarter. 12-9 Chaminade. Gillis waits it out at the top. Almost had his 6th goal, but it was taken off the board for an offsides. Then Delbarton with a Romweber goal to bring this to a 3-goal game as a timeout by Chaminade.
Yeah, Coach Moran definitely wants to make sure his guys are on the same page for the final 6 minutes, right? While everyone appreciates the flashiness of that Gillis goal and him just being able to kind of put the team on his shoulders and go get one, Coach Moran's going to look to settle them down and say, hey, here's how we want to clear, right? Here's the offense that we want to run throughout the course of the game. And then for the defense as well, you see him in the defensive huddle saying, everybody take a deep breath, let's settle down, let's not give Delbarton anything that they don't earn.
Listen, we mentioned the emotions are high. We saw a little scuffle before, flags flying left and right. A lot of guys have been in the penalty box. But if you're a coach, you mentioned Coach Moran trying to bring the emotions down. What's the mindset for Chaminade trying to keep this lead and Delbarton trying to bring this deficit closer?
I think it's one of the keys of both coaches, right, to value the possessions. Both goalies in net are very good. Take the score.
So 6:05 to go in the 4th quarter. Both teams trying to keep their emotions down, value those possessions, as you said, Isaac. Just technical difficulty, just so you know. We lost the stream for a moment, but we're back live. Glad you're joining us here. 12-9. Chaminade leads, and they're out of a timeout. Gillis on the near side, rolls left down the alley. Popham shields him off and forces it out of his hands. Balsamo, left corner, trying to get top side. Backs down, Core, and gets it out. Lynch, one-on-one with Pedicano. Peels it back out, 35 to shoot. Chaminade taking their time. Balsamo directing traffic. Core right there with him, not giving him much space. Cutting trying to set a pick. Balsamo will use it and find him on the left wing. Cutting down the left side against Dotro. Working at X. Gets around the cage, tries to find a shot, 8 to shoot. Cutting back to X, 5 to shoot. Voorhees bowling his way in, 2 to shoot, and he has to throw it away. Great defense by Delbarton.
It's great poise by the Delbarton defense, right? Chaminade may have come out looking just to find one particular matchup in that offensive possession. Now for Delbarton, they've got to do a good job of clearing the ball and settling in. In that last timeout, I'm sure that Coach Schreiber and Coach Kovacek put together a play, something that they want to look for out of their offense as they get the stop. You anticipate it. So now is Delbarton able to throw that next punch and really bring this back to a 2-goal game?
4:40 to go in the 4th quarter. Bowden driving right, fires, saved by Walsh, and he picks up the rebound.
Yeah, that was a great save. Again, Delbarton doing a good job of getting downhill on the Chaminade short sticks. It's a good goal. That's a shot that they're going to want back in terms of, Walsh staying on it and taking one off the face and corralling that ball.
4:20 to go. That's Walsh's 10th save as Sim with the clear.
Look to Chaminade now to do exactly what they did in the last possession. Use a little bit of clock, find the best matchup. You see Balsamo saying settle down a little bit. They've got the 3-goal lead. They're not going to take their foot off the gas, but they definitely want to be smart in terms of maintaining a little bit of poise and milking a little bit of clock.
Time is their friend here, under 4 minutes to go. Chaminade by 3, looking to get a top 5 win. Balsamo left wing, splits right, Down the alley, fires wide to the right. That'll go out of bounds.
That's a good miss, and that's exactly what Coach Moran wants to see, right? A shot that makes sense. Balsamo, hands-free, getting down the alley. It's a shot that makes sense. Balsamo's definitely going to want that one back as well.
Cutting at X, 24 to shoot. Shot clock did not reset after Balsamo missed the cage. Up top, it's Connolly, 20 to shoot. Splits right, double team comes. Gillis is open, he fires, he scores! Number 6 for James Gillis. And this one won't be taken off the board. It's 13-9, Chaminade.
Look, I don't think James Gillis has ever seen an angle he doesn't feel like he can't shoot from. But credit to Chaminade's offense for slipping guys off of the crease. Gillis is able now just to step in because of that backdoor slip and let his hands free. That is a tremendous shot. That's a Division I shot right there by a junior in high school. Great shot by Gillis to get his 6th.
And a great IQ play there. Saw the open space and just let it rip to the top corner. 13-9 Chaminade, 3:22 to go. Can they ice the game here with a couple face-off wins? Trzynski comes out with it, and here he comes in transition. Trzynski in front, and that goes wide to the right. Falk had a great chance.
Yeah, Walsh is seeing it, though. That pass goes inside, and if you're Falk, you're thinking about Walsh making those last couple of saves. Walsh was all over that shot all the way down to the ground. And you want to just see right now, right?
Falk, another save by Walsh, off of his shoulder.
Is Delbarton able to get one past him? Sometimes you see as goalies start to make saves, guys stop shooting for the back of the net. You want to see Delbarton shoot for the back of the net and not looking at the goalie wearing 44 standing in front of him.
And that one off the crossbar, rebound up in the air, taken by Battaglia. 3 minutes to go in the fourth. Battaglia, hounded by Hauser, finds ball up the middle. The Fogo staying on the field and clearing the ball as D'Agostino walks it across the timeline. 2:45 to go.
Phenomenal poise by Battaglia again off the ground. That shot goes off the crossbar. He's able to find it, corral it, and make sure that he maintains possession for his team, as we approach the 2-minute mark in this game.
Balsamo at X. Chaminade looking for their 11th straight win and their 6th against a ranked opponent. Connolly and Cutton up top. Connolly will keep it on the right side. Defended by Dotro. Flyers taking their time here. 2:17 to go in the fourth. 40 on the shot clock. Gillis, right wing against Popham. Splits right down the alley. Goes towards the net. Finds Lynch. Circling at GLE. Fakes the pass up top. Swings it to the right side. Bouncer caught by Connolly. 25 to shoot. Connolly to X. Balsamo looks at the shot clock and works with 20 to shoot. Lynch up top. Looking for Cutton. Winds it to the near side. Balsamo at the left wing. Splits down the alley against Pallone. Hops to X. 10 to shoot. Balsamo circles with 8 to shoot. Shoots. That's blocked. Rebound to Pedicano. Trying to outlet it. Knocked down by Lynch and picked up by Delbarton.
Yeah, it's not the shot or the look that Chaminade wanted, but they did a really good job of maintaining poise throughout the course of the clock. Just like I'm not sure that's the shot that Delbarton wants to see from 20 yards, on a Division I goalie.
And Walsh with another save as Pedicano got laid out by Connolly. Balsamo down the near side. Gillis again! And did he score that? No, it went off the side of the net. Picked up by Delbarton. Romweber up the near side. Chaminade still thinks Gillis scored, but Fodor will bring it across the midfield line. 1 minute to go.
He might have.
Inside Hauser, stopped by Walsh.
Look, this kid never met an angle that he wouldn't shoot from. That's great wrist action by Jimmy Gillis, kind of turning that ball inside.
And a whistle on the play. Timeout Chaminade. 1:01 to go in the fourth, but despite him not putting that one home, 6 goals for him today. He's just a factor from every angle you mentioned. He could shoot left, he could shoot right, and he's really evolved since last year.
He is a master of his craft, right? Evolution, I think, is the perfect word. So he definitely just works for everything he wants.
1:01 to go, and Chaminade focusing on this one, but they have a big matchup over the next 2 weeks. It's the NSCHSAA AAA Championship presented by Catholic Health on May 15, 2025 at 4:45 p.m. on the Varsity Media Sports Network. It'll be St. Anthony's facing off against Chaminade for the second time this year. Chaminade took down the Friars 11-10 on April 24th. Can they do it again and hoist a Catholic League championship? Make sure to tune in on the Varsity Media Sports Network. So 1:01 to go in the fourth quarter. Can Chaminade close it out, or can Delbarton form a vicious comeback.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things like Coach Moran using that timeout on the defensive end, making sure that his team understands what the next minute of this game can and should look like, right? If they were to give up a goal, what do our wings look like? How are we going to make sure that we support Quinn Ball? But starting with any of the offensive sets that Delbarton has thrown out, their coaches are going in and saying, hey, we got to slide to our short sticks. We got to get the ball up off the ground. Don't foul, right? Don't give them any bit of momentum that could maybe lead to a 4-goal swing in 1 minute. But at the same time, and you talk about their upcoming matchups, not only with Manhasset, but also St. Anthony's. For Chaminade, you want to come out of this game feeling great, right? Feeling, understanding that you weathered some of these punches that Delbarton has been able to throw. And then at the same time, you know, making sure that guys stay healthy.
Bowden up top. Final 45 seconds. Bowden shoots it wide to the left, but that's going to be a whistle. And Bowden lowered the shoulder, and that will be a turnover.
Yeah, you know, Chaminade comes out in a zone. Bowden sees a guy step up. That is just fulfilling that zone. He looks to lay him out and then put one on cage. Can't do that in this sport.
D'Agostino across the midfield line. 37 seconds to go. Meyerhofer spins away from a check and gets it into the box. 30 seconds to go, and it looks like Chaminade will close this one out. Their 11th straight victory and their 6th ranked win as we approach 20 seconds to go. Balsamo gets near the net, shoots, and a save that might have went off the post as it goes out of play, staying with Chaminade. 11.7 to go. What a win for the Flyers. Number 6 in the country according to Inside Lacrosse. Take down the number 5 team according to IL. As that'll do it. 13-9. The Flyers win it behind 6 goals from James Gillis and a stellar performance from Kieran Walsh in net.
Yeah, great game for both of these coaches. But for Chaminade, you know, to weather some of those storms, deal with them fighting back. It's a great job by Chaminade to kind of just weather some of the punches that Delbarton continue to throw.
And this is Gillis' 6th goal, finding space and letting it rip. That's what he's done all day. Just an amazing talent and a superstar for the Flyers. Leads them with 6 goals. Balsamo had 3. Lynch had 4 as well. So that trio doing all the scoring for the Flyers today, and when they needed them, they came up big.
100%. You know, Coach Moran talked about it before the game, kind of relying on those top 6. Those guys did a great job of sharing the rock today, you know, really making their defense get to relax a little bit by some of the opportunities that they took on offense and capitalizing on them.
So what a victory, thanks to our entire crew. As we say goodbye on the Varsity Media Sports Network, our executive producer, Ben Turchin, technical director, Becca Kazaks, I'm Thomas Gamba, alongside Isaac Neal. Thanks to our 2 camera operators, Jeff and Chris, as that'll do it. Chaminade takes down Delbarton with a marquee win as they defeat the Green Wave 13-9, saying goodbye on the Varsity Media Sports Network.